Hello and welcome to the Vaults of Terra. My name is Ed and today we're going to be continuing our Space Marine biology videos by looking into the background of the Space Wolves biology. Now they have a very specific and unique part of their gene seed which really needs to be looked into as we're currently dealing with the Space Wolves overall. Now the thing I'm talking about is actually the Canis Helix, and it is an important component of the gene seed of the Space Wolves, making them more unique than other Space Marine chapters. Now, the Canis Helix is a mutation of the gene seed that gives the Space Wolves a very enhanced ability beyond even those of the other Space Marines, including hyper-acute senses of smell and hearing. They also have longer canines and more leathery, weather-resilient skin. The Helix also enhances their ferocity in battle, but carries a dangerous risk of turning a Space Wolf into a bestial monster if he fails to control his feral side. This risk accompanies the Space Wolf throughout their lives and is known as the Curse of the Wolfen, as I mentioned before in the last Space Wolves video. The Canis Helix is also the first component of the gene seed implanted into a Space Wolf. After it is implanted, they then perform something called the Test of Morokai, where the aspirant will drink a formula containing the Helix from the cup of Wolfen, and can undergo a violent transformation. Their bones may split and buckle, thick hair may sprout from their bodies, and they may revert to a more bestial state as I mentioned before, where they hunger for raw meat and blood, although they do this even if they do not become a Wolfen. One of the most important aspects of this test is the aspirants showed themselves to be able to keep this bestial state under control, even while making their way through the Fenrisian wilderness in harsh conditions. Those that fail to do so become Wolfen, and they remain in the wild. The aspirant may return to the Fang, and if they do so, he is then implanted with the remaining elements of their gene seed, which will then stabilise the effects of the Helix. Although this procedure is extremely hazardous, the rest of the gene seed is ineffective unless the Canis Helix is implanted first. Now, as the Space Wolf grows older and more experienced, the Canis Helix also causes additional transformations. Their hair will turn prematurely grey, their canines will grow so long they actually become fangs, their skin will take on a very highly weathered appearance, and in some cases their eyes may even change colour, going to the yellow most seen among the Fenrisian wolves in the wilderness. A Space Wolf who reaches this stage is considered fit for elevation to the rank of Grey Hunter, and eventually if they live long enough they will be ready to join the ranks of the Long Fangs, whose appearance is so stereotypically wolf-like that many of the common Imperium fear them because of the changes to their features. Now, in some Space Wolves, the Canis Helix leads to the development of a brooding and malignant demeanour, which makes them unfit for the camaraderie which a normal wolf pack will develop. These wolves traditionally become wolf scouts, and although they are respected by the rest of the Space Wolves, their reputations are well founded. No matter how old or experienced a Space Wolf grows, they are never free from the risk of the Curse of the Wolfen, and they risk reverting to their bestial state in moments of great stress. For this reason, part of the duties of the Wolf Priests is to watch over their brothers in battle and remind them of their better instincts when they are in danger of succumbing to the curse. Now, there's also a bit of background to this in one of the books that came out for the Black Library called The Battle for the Fang. Now, in that book they mentioned something called the tempering, and I'll just go through that now. Now, because the Canis Helix is one of the Space Wolves' greatest strengths, it also means it has their greatest flaw in them. And because the gene seed is inherently unstable, the first and possibly last attempt at a successor chapter ended in disaster. When the Legion was divided after the heresy, a new chapter, the Wolf Brothers, was created. The Wolf Brothers were intended to be the first of many successor chapters, but all quickly succumbed to the curse of the Wolfen and scattered throughout the galaxy. Thereafter, the Space Wolves all but abandoned their hopes of copying themselves into other chapters. In an attempt to try and combat this, in Millennium 32, Thar Ariak Hareldir, the Wolf High Priest of the Space Wolves, was conducting experiments which he called the tempering to control the instability of the Canis Helix and allow them to produce successor chapters. He believed he was close to succeeding. However, his laboratory was destroyed by Magnus the Red during the Battle of the Fang. Magnus, afraid of the possibility of the wolves proliferating their gene seed throughout the galaxy, destroyed the laboratory and made sure all the work was removed in order to stop them from continuing the tempering. Now, although this was the best hope in the Space Wolves ever becoming a chapter with successor chapters, it also meant that it was very controversial because they were working with the very primal forces of a Space Marine's being, that which only the Emperor before has ever had any direct control over. Now, it was highly controversial, and in the end it was admitted that, although it was admitted that they were close to success, there were doubts about the Space Marines that would have been created because of the manipulation of the Canis Helix. Even today, we do not know if the Space Wolves will undergo another tempering in order to produce more successor chapters, although at this stage it's highly unlikely. Now that's my very short video. I apologise that it's so short this week, but because we wanted to deal with everything to do with the Space Wolves at this stage, apart from their special characters, we thought it would be a good idea to finish here. Now next week we're going to be continuing our Space Marine videos. We're going to be moving on to the generic makeup of a Space Marine army, i.e. what units they have and what ranks they hold within the force. Now after that, again, we're going to have more chapter videos, so as you have been doing, please keep voting below, and if you have any questions, you can contact us directly via a personal message, or you can leave comments below, or if you have any questions specifically for the Q&A, please do put in the title that they'll be for the Q&A, because we will start saving things from now on and you might not hear back from us for a while, so if you want something answered immediately, do let us know. That's everything I wanted to mention in this video, so I hope you have a good day and we'll see you next time on the Vaults of Terra.